Okay, classy. So today we are doing a checkpoint. We're checking in on our progress. This is the end of this phase. So our first phase was, this whole big cycle of description. So we were describing setting, then we were describing preferences, then we were describing just now internal and external characteristics. And we're going to continue that on through the rest of the, this last phase of the cycle. But before we do, I want to kind of see how things are going so far. It's not like these are things that we didn't cover at all last year. We just are building up on them, improving our reading skills and our writing skills, adding in new and more complex ways to say things, and just expanding what was something we could do in a smaller way and move it into being able to do it in a bigger way. You have two options for how you can do this. When I gave this same one to the earlier class, I'm not sure why. Maybe they were just like having an off morning, but it freaked them out a little bit. Like they would get stuck on one word or two words that they couldn't remember exactly what it meant, and it just completely paralyzed them. And I got a lot of, I think I failed this, which is, how hard it is to actually fail a test in this class. It's very, very difficult. So I have an alternative format that if you prefer to do it in this way, you can. So the two options, because I had some leftovers from the other class, are, is this right? Yeah, okay. Are to either, and the reading is the exact same thing. Take the one that has the reading that you pretty much are going to translate out, or do your own bullet points down here. Or what I think would have maybe helped them not freak out so much is to do it in this format, which is each element of the rubric is split out. So here, you're giving me basically a main idea summary that answers the who, what, when, where questions. Like, this is happening to this person in this place at this time kind of summary. Just this. The next box is for elements to describe the setting. So anything that would impact the ambiance, anything sensory, smells, tastes, textures, general vibe, mood, that kind of stuff can all go in describing the setting. And you can read for more ideas, especially read in the 5 box. I want you all shooting for 5. If you don't get it, no big deal, but I want you shooting for 5. And then the last one is describing the character, including the internal and external characteristics. So some ideas that the rubric gives for internal and external characteristics include their thoughts and what that tells us about them, preferences, feelings, personality, external traits like physical appearance, and that could be elements of their body or shape. I mean, we're using random characters, not people characters, so it's a little bit different in the way that we describe them. But again, remember, you're showing me what you can do, not what you can't do. Don't freak out about the words that you don't know. I'm not going to be answering questions about what things mean. If you want confirmation, like, I'm pretty sure that this word is related to this other word I already know, or just tell me if I'm on the right track here. If you come up and whisper it to me, I might give you a little thumbs up, but I'm not going to be, telling you what things mean. So I'm going to let you choose, since I have extra copies, which format you feel more comfortable with. If you'd rather do, it's already broken down for me so I can make sure I'm focusing in on one element at a time, or if you want to just kind of straight translate it, either one is fine with me. You can get the same amount of points no matter which one you choose. But if you feel like one would make you more comfortable, go for that. I also want you to be thoughtful as you are reading, because the next thing you're going to do today is the writing, where you're still going to be wanting to show that you can express preferences, describe setting, describe internal and external characteristics. So maybe take take notice of the way that I did it in this as one of many options of how you could do it when you're doing your own writing immediately after this. I'm actually just going to set these right up here for you to come up and choose which format you like to do. And then you're going to have about 7 to 10 minutes. We'll kind of see what everybody's sort of wrapping up. And if you don't totally finish it by the time I cut you off, don't freak out. I'm going to look at what you did do. And if I need to see more, I'll just ask you about it. Not a big deal. Steve.
Can I work in the back table?
You may sit at a table, yes, but only one person to a table. Yes.
I forget, do you have to translate word to word
So if you want to translate word to word, and that's the way you feel most comfortable, I'd go with this sheet. If you would prefer to just do kind of bullet points and just make sure you're hitting all of the concepts in here, I'd pick this one.
Well, I mean, like for that one, do we absolute word to word?
Not necessarily. No.
So you're writing our answers in English?
Correct. You're showing comprehension by writing in English. And it does say it on there, but I know we don't always
So like
read it.
in the Spanish text, it's switched around compared to how we would write it in English. We could write it the way we
See, the way that's natural.
Which one's faster?
I honestly don't know. I haven't ever given this format before. It just seemed like a way to maybe reduce some stress for people who are freaking out a little bit about it.
So the one on the left, probably faster.
Could be. Could be. You wouldn't really have to think so much about what goes in which category if you just want to cruise through word by word. All right, you may select. When it looks like everybody's got their papers, I'll start our 7-ish minutes,
None of the above.
which can be very flexible if we need it to be. Okay, chicos. Muy bien.
And I can't start off that day because I'm actually that day. And that's fine. I mean, we don't need a bunch of people to
Hey, chicos. Una persona no escribió su nombre.
Madai, is that yours? Yeah, that's yours, Madai.
Es Madai, sí. Okay.
You can write your name on it.
En Crayola, está bien. Okay.
So everyone else handing us some pictures.
Clases. Parte 2. La parte de escritura. I'm going to refresh your memory about what I'm looking for on your writing so you can be mega successful. How many of you, as you were reading your reading section, paid a little bit of attention to the kinds of details, sensory details, setting details, structure even, that were in that example? A little tiny bit, maybe. Okay. So here are the things that you need to do to earn a 5. Right? Now this one was the Spanish 2 version. Your description should contain 6 or more sentences. Have a clear topic. All of the sentences that you write are about the same topic. And I want you to kind of picture it like this. Who remembers our book, Eddie el Elefante? Okay, so before they even start telling the story of Eddie the elephant, they don't get into like plot points. They start with, this is Eddie. This is what Eddie is like. This is what Eddie really wants. But Eddie is not this. Eddie is something else. Eddie wants to be like this, but Eddie is actually this. That makes Eddie sad, or maybe mad, or maybe frustrated, or something else that's a little more elevated. Then we set the scene. Where is this taking place? What's it like? And you could kind of flip-flop that. I mean, in the one that I had written for you here in our reading, I started with describing the scene, making you feel what that night was like. Or maybe it's feel what that day is like, feel what that afternoon is like. But I give you sort of a time and a place that things are happening. And ideally, you weave it into a couple of different sentences. It's not super exciting to read, it is sunny, it is cloudy, it is not raining. But if we can maybe combine those together, it's a sunny day in Neilsville is not really using any more complex language, but it sounds a whole lot more elevated. All right. It actually is sunny today, sunny-ish. So let's see. Using sensory details, describing things that you see, that you hear, feel, taste, touch. This is, you don't have to actually say, it tastes like this, it looks like this, it feels like this, it sounds like this, but you could say, the door shuts with a boom. That's sensory. Onomatopoeia. I love a good old-fashioned onomatopoeia. You could use an adjective like fluffy. We've used the word fluffy like when we were talking about adorable animals.
Yeah.
What's the word for hair? Pelo is peludo. It's fluffy. Or crunchy. That's texture. That's feel. That's sensory and sound really too. For taste, it could be, a sweet aroma. It could be something spicy. There are something salty. There are a lot of ways that we could go with it. Now, it is not going to make sense for us to use every single one of the sensory details in every single person's setting up the story. So don't think like, I have to get a taste in here. Well, if you're talking about a penny, you probably don't need to say what it tastes like. Unless he really, really wants some spicy hot chocolate, which is delicious, by the way. And then talking about internal and external traits. Sometimes it's hard to think about what are all the internal traits that it could be, but it can be things like personality, mood, thoughts, feelings. I know you know how to say thinks, or prefers, or feels, or at least some of those things. Any of those can be woven in to show personality. It's not just he is kind, he is mean. You can show personality in a lot of ways. And we probably won't get so far as to reactions unless we're talking like is sad, is mad, is angry, because that might be a reaction. You are going to have from now until the end of the class to write, and the prompt you can kind of self-select. I'm going to put a couple of characters up on the board from a different class. You could either write about one of those, you could write about one of the ones we created together as a class, you could write about the one that you created, but if you don't know enough of the language to express it in a sort of fluid way, consider just subbing out details. If you really wanted to say that it was burgundy, but you just cannot remember the word Bourgogne, because it's a pretty random word, it's not burgundy anymore. Now she's green. Okay, swap it out for something you do know. If you were really planning on it being a cashier and you cannot remember how to say cashier, well, maybe now he's a boss. El jefe. It's okay to change details for the sake of being able to communicate our ideas. So I'm going to hand out your writing sheets. Please feel free to use the back side if you like. I'll get these on your way. And I cannot wait to see what you guys.
I have a short list.
Can I use 12 of that?
Okay.
It's not everybody, but
Good start.
is it in this room?
Here's the
Piece of the paper.
In the comments. What am I doing?
Okay, no more talking.